Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Zee Franchise Happy Hour. I'm the host, as usual, Calvin Smith, coming from beautiful Destin, Florida. We're finally getting some warm weather. I think we hit 70 today for the first time this year, so looking good here. Excited to talk to a fellow veteran and entrepreneur and I guess real estate mogul as well, Celeste Purdie, and coming from South Carolina. Celeste, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Calvin. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So, Celeste, what we ask everyone to do to kick us off, give us, your 60 to 120-second intro. What do you think's important to frame the conversation that you want people to know?
All right. Well, I am a United States Air Force veteran, as you mentioned, and I served 4 years in the military. And then I got out and I had 25 years working in corporate America. I'm definitely one of those people that likes strategy over tactical stuff. And so I spent 25 years in corporate America, and I had one of those kind of life and death situations that got rear-ended on a highway and decided that I no longer wanted to work in corporate America and I wanted to become a full-time entrepreneur. So the first thing I did was jump into real estate because it was easy and I was already an investor. And then shortly after that, I bought a self-storage facility and then I bought a franchise. So my life is definitely different than it was 5 years ago, but I wouldn't change the script for anything. It's been a really great journey.
Absolutely. So that's a lot, Celeste. So you were in corporate, or first you were in the military, then you were in corporate America, and then walk me through that again.
Okay, I know it's a lot. People are always asking me, how in the world do you do all the things that you do? And quite frankly, I probably spend less hours today working than I did when I was in corporate America. Um, so I'm currently an owner of a successful real estate business. So I have a team of 2 agents, and I do mostly residential real estate, helping a lot of veterans, first-time home buyers, helping buyers and sellers and investors. And then my husband and I, of course, own a few investment properties ourselves. So we have an investment property in Charleston. We have one here in the Greenville area. And then probably 4 years ago, we purchased a self-storage facility. And my husband manages that pretty much for his day-to-day kind of business. And then a year ago, March 1st, matter of fact, we signed the papers to start some Foot Solutions franchises here in South Carolina.
Wow. So that is a lot. Got a lot going on. So after corporate America, was your first kind of venture outside of that was in real estate? Were you investing first, or what? And then you mentioned, the incident where you're in a car accident. Like, let's dive into that a little bit, Celeste. So you're working a corporate job, been doing it for 25 years. You're in a car accident. What happened? What made you decide, okay, I'm gonna do something else?
Yeah, so I was actually traveling to Columbia, South Carolina from Greenville for a leadership meeting early in the morning. I was in a rental SUV, and at that time I had about 120 retail stores, 10 direct reports in 5 different states, so I was on the road all the time. I carried 2 phones, and I was probably working 60 hours a week. And I was heading to Columbia for a meeting. It was early in the morning, sun coming up, and in front of me I saw traffic stopped, and I heard a voice in my head. I'll claim it was God saying, Celeste, don't park too close because the car behind you will not be able to stop. And so I parked about 4 car lengths behind the car that was stopped in front of me. And within 10 seconds, I hear squealing tires and a car ran into the back of me going 65 miles an hour. I walked away with 3 herniated discs, and the guy that ran into me had to get pulled out of the vehicles with the jaws of life.
Oh my goodness.
And that just, really gave me a wake-up call that, the amount of hours that I was putting on the road, the amount of travel, the amount of time away from my family was a big sacrifice. And my life could go like that. And was HR what I really wanted to do for the remainder of my career? And the answer was no. And I really decided that I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family, and I wanted to really be in control of my work. I wanted to be able to schedule my life first and then schedule work around it. And when you're in corporate America, it's usually the other way around. You're working and you try to schedule a vacation here or there. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do for the remaining work hours that I had.
Absolutely. So was that the reason you got into real estate, was the flexibility and kind of the lifestyle that it provided?
Yeah, the flexibility. Quite frankly, I was on workers' comp for about a year, and then I took a pretty nice severance package from the company I worked with, so I didn't have to work for a couple of years. Probably 6 months into that, I was like, oh, this is pretty boring. And my husband was talking about buying another rental property at the time. We had one in Charleston at that point, and he was looking at buying another one in the Greenville area. And I was like, you're going to pay a real estate agent to help you find a house? Maybe I'll just go to school and you can pay me. And that's how it really started.
That's great. That's great. So you left the corporate job and started working for yourself as a real estate agent. And then what's the path from there? You got more investment properties, and then what made you get into self-storage? Obviously, everyone hears about self-storage and how great of an opportunity it is. Not very many people actually go and buy one, right? So what was the decision there, and kind of what made you go that route?
Yeah, again, another really interesting story. A real estate agent that I worked with, her brother had a self-storage unit that he was selling. And as I mentioned, my husband was looking for an investment property. And so instead, I came home from a meeting one day and I said, well, instead of an investment property, would you consider a self-storage facility? And he said yes. And, just to be transparent, our finances were not in the right order to go out and get a business loan at the time. But this guy really liked my husband. They got along really well. He really said, you know what, regardless if you can't get a business loan, I'll do owner financing. And so that was the move for us jumping into, like a commercial business. And it was super successful. We purchased it on April Fool's Day. And every month since we've purchased it, I mean, we are literally 2 or 3 times a day telling people we don't have an open unit. We did do a lot of upgrades and we have 4 buildings, 68 units, and then an acre and a half right next to it that has trailers, RVs, boats. And we took that acre and a half and really transformed it so that we can fill it up with trucks, RVs, and boats. It really went from maybe holding about 5 to holding almost 40 vehicles now. So it's been a great business.
Yeah. Celeste, you reminded me of something whenever you were telling that story. A lot of times people that want to start a business, or think that they want to get into entrepreneurship, don't think they have the financing for it. And as you said, had you sat down and thought about it before even looking at the opportunity, you may not even have gotten a chance to buy this facility, because it may not have made sense for a bank, right? But just saying yes, getting your foot in the door, open up the opportunity. It sounds like it's been great for you and your husband.
Yeah, absolutely. In hindsight, now that I know how easy that it could be to get financing, we probably would have explored some other options, but at that time we didn't. And I'll be honest, even when we started the franchise, we did not go the traditional route of, going to a bank with a business plan. The way we got started with this franchise was that I knew the franchisor. So I was actually, when I was doing real estate, I also dabbled in e-commerce, and I did an e-commerce business, multi-level marketing, and I was very successful. I earned the trip every year, and one of my business partners is a multimillionaire in Atlanta. Her husband played for the NFL for 10 years, had a very successful company that he launched on Shark Tank, and he sold it to Foot Solutions and became an owner of Foot Solutions. We were on vacation one year from one of these free trips that we earned, and he said he was selling his company, and they had no locations in South Carolina. Would we be interested when they decided to go into a growth mode? And so that's really how that bug started. And, it wasn't the traditional way. So we really used our own personal retirement and investment money that we had saved up over the years. and took a portion of that to actually start the franchise.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, just another opportunity presented itself and you said yes to it, right? That's great.
Yes,
That's great.
yes.
So let's take an opportunity now. Tell us about Foot Solutions. I'm not familiar with the brand. I'm not sure how large it is, but tell us about the brand itself. Where did it start? How many locations are there, nationwide? And then tell us about your business specifically.
Okay. Well, Foot Solutions has been around for about 40 years. It's an international franchise. We've got locations in the United States, some European locations, and Canada. And when it was actually purchased by the investors 2 years ago, that rebranded it, that included my friend out of Atlanta. Uh, they went down from probably about 120 franchise locations to probably 60. And then most recently, like within the past 2 weeks, they just purchased Happy Feet Plus in Florida. So they have grown their corporate footprint. But it is really a brand that's all about foot health and foot wellness. So it's comfortable shoes for people that have foot pain. We have a portion of our business that's medically accredited, where they help fit diabetics with proper footwear and custom orthotics. So it's really a footwear custom orthotic business that has a really unique customer service brand of service. So it's really service orientated. When I say, Calvin, old school customer service, like you don't even tie your shoes when you come into our store. It's probably a 45-minute appointment where you come in, we do a full gait analysis. We have a proprietary 3D pressure scan where we look at the pressure points on your foot. And then, unlike any other shoe store where you just point to the wall and say, I'd like to try this, we bring out shoes that are recommended for your foot type and for whatever foot ailments that you have. We literally have people that come in hobbling and leave dancing. So it's a very unique brand.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So Celeste, just talking to you in this last little bit and understanding everything that you have going on, plus what you're looking for from a lifestyle standpoint, I'm assuming you're not going into the location and running it every day, right? I mean, do you have a team that runs it? How did you start? Were you in the locations when you started? And like talk through that journey on how you got to running these franchises.
Yeah, so most of the Foot Solutions franchises are run by experts. So people that have taken training to be certified shoe fitters. I am a certified shoe fitter, but most locations have a certified CPED as well. Somebody that really understands the biomechanics of the foot and gait analysis. So I spent, with my HR background, I knew that one of the biggest investments we needed was, really hiring the right team. So we hired a store manager that will grow with us because not only did we purchase the rights to Greenville, but we also purchased the rights to Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina. So I needed a manager that was really strong. And then we hired another sales associate, and between the two of them, they have over 40 years of experience in this industry. And so we were super excited to have that. And our current store manager is actually training in Hickory, North Carolina. So I'm actually working in the store 2 days a week right now until April, which has been a lot of fun because I'm getting to really get hands-on experience of the lives that we're changing. I like to feel like we're changing lives one foot at a time.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So you're in the store a little bit, and you 2 days a week, and then what's your time spent on outside of that? I mean, do you have is it family? Are you on going on vacations? Or are you just diving into your other businesses? Like, what's your lifestyle look like on a given week now?
Yeah. So I'm a planner. I mean, if you were to ask me what I did 10 years ago on today, I could go pull a planner out and tell you exactly what
Sure,
I did. So I'm
that's
a
awesome.
planner, but primarily I would say real estate is my primary job. With the franchise, I am doing payroll. I am coordinating between our bookkeeper and our CPA, coordinating conversations. I'm, in charge of writing the checks for our vendors and things like that. So I probably, when I'm not working in the store, I might work 30 minutes a day, kind of on the franchise, doing franchise stuff. And then the rest is real estate or spending time. I'm planning a wedding right now with my daughter. So, I mean, again, I really don't feel like, even with all of the businesses I have, that I work 40 hours a week. I don't.
That's amazing. So, you've done a good job early on of working on the business and not in the business. A lot of the franchisees that I speak to all the time are kind of stuck in the weeds, right? And they feel like they just bought themselves a job whenever they signed that franchise agreement. So it sounds like you've been able to avoid that and make a good investment, but also, set your team up for success. So you have the time to go and do these other things, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I thought that was super important because of the fact that we wanted to continue to expand and not being in a store constantly, would allow us to grow a really good team that wanted to grow with us. And what I see as our store manager will grow into a district manager, and then she'll go down and train the team in Charleston. And then our associate here, he's being groomed, and he would be a great store manager if that's what he wants. So that was kind of our plan always.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Celeste, I think we connected on LinkedIn and looking at your profile, you're extremely active and engaged, and you got outside of running these businesses, you're also pretty active on social media. How important is that to your business and your brand as a person? And, what are you doing on social media now that you feel like is adding value to these different businesses that you're running?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do feel like if anybody is looking to be in a franchise, that their brand really does need to be established and have it be aligned to that brand. If anyone was to look back at my social media 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I've had a pretty consistent brand. And that might be because of my 25 years in corporate HR. I know that things can stay in the universe forever. So, on social media, you'll see me talking about a few things. My businesses, my family. I do like wine, so I'll talk about wine. I'm a college football enthusiast, so you'll see me talk about that, and travel. But that's pretty much my realm. Positive affirmations, positivity. You're not going to see me, in real divisive conversations ever on social media. And so it was easy for me when I start something new to bring people along with me from anything that I've done, because I've always had a really consistent brand of being positive, seeing the world kind of through rose-colored glasses, the glass half, full, not half empty. And so it's easy to bring people along with me. I do feel like I have people that watch from the sideline, are cheering me on, will share my posts, engage with the content that I'm sharing, and I do feel like that is one of the reasons I've been successful, is that I really cultivated that brand of me before I started anything else.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I would imagine that your past experiences led you down that path. A lot of people that even the people that apply for jobs in our different businesses, we look at their social media profiles, and it's unreal how many candidates we just don't even interview because of their social media content. The resume looks great, first conversation or whatever, but then once we do a little deep dive into their social profiles, it can be a turn off for sure. You mentioned you're planning your daughter's wedding. How many kids do you have?
So I have two. I have a daughter, she's 30, and a stepson who just turned 29. And yeah, so um, I'm excited for both of them for their futures.
Yeah. Have you been able to instill the social media discipline in them as well? I know with my kids who are 18 to 23, um, I'm preaching it every day, and just trying to make sure that nothing weird pops up out there all the time. But have your kids followed in your footsteps?
Well, my stepson has unfriended me on social media because, he wants to put whatever content he wants out there, and he doesn't want me to say, hey, you're looking for a job. That's really not a good idea. You should really just clean up your social media and get all of that trash out there. Nobody wants to come to your page and see cursing and, you know, craziness. My daughter, yes, she's followed in that same footsteps. She actually works for Verizon, so she works for the company that I left, and she she knows the importance of having a good brand as well, and she's done a really good job with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned that, your husband owns the investment properties with you. How's you leaving the corporate world and going and investing in yourself and in these different businesses? How's that impacted the time and the energy that you're able to focus at home, Celeste? I know for me it was a game changer being able to at least control my schedule, if not having more time, but being able to control my schedule and focus on family. How has that been for you in the transition over the years?
Yeah, I think having investment properties is always a smart move. Even in real estate now, I love working with first time investors as well because it really is a game changer when you can help somebody get an investment property and they have that steady income coming in that's already paying the mortgage, already paying the insurance, but it's an additional $300 to $500 in their paycheck. I mean, literally $300 more in a household per month is game changer. It could be private school for the kids. It could be, private lessons if they're, athletic and want to, say they want to go to college. You can get a private coach. I mean, it really is a game changer when you can help somebody do that. For me, it was, it was just kind of natural. I didn't want to sell my house. But I did set really good examples. My daughter bought her first house at 25 because she saw the importance of investing. And so she's hoping that when she gets married that I'll sell her my house in Charleston, which I bought for $79,000. It's worth $350,000. Sell her that house, and then in turn she'll sell me her townhouse here in Greenville, and we can do a 1031 exchange because she doesn't want to pay taxes. But yeah, but I enjoy helping investors. I recently helped a young lady. I helped her sell a townhouse, buy her first house, and then she just bought her first investment property. We closed on a Friday, Calvin. She bought this house for $82,000, probably about 40 minutes from Greenville, in an area where there's two colleges, so she'll easily get renters. But closed on a Friday, cleaned the house on a Saturday, put the listing up for rent on Saturday afternoon, had a tenant by Sunday. Her first mortgage payment was 2 months later, but she had a tenant for 2 months paying rent, and her mortgage was $400, and the tenant was paying $1,000 a month in rent. Now, if that's not a game changer for somebody, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. What Well, Celeste, to be respectful of your time, got a couple more questions here. What is the one thing, or maybe one or two things that you found that you're not good at that you discovered once you left your corporate job and started working for yourself?
One thing that I probably would say that I'm not good at is in corporate America, I had to listen to people complain a lot. And I would just have to, kind of listen to them complain. In working for myself, hearing people complain, I want to provide a solution. And I'm very vocal about providing solutions. I'd probably say the other thing is in corporate America, you were really kind of forced to work with anybody. And what I found is that I would accommodate and give up some of my joy by being around people that would drain my energy. And I've chosen not to do that working for myself. And that took me probably a good year to understand that I could really decide who I wanted to work with, who I was going to allow in my space, who I was going to allow to drain energy from me, and who I was not going to allow to do that anymore. And so I really did have to cut off a few people that were really kind of stuck in that trap of woe's me, the world's against me, always wanted to share negative stuff, always wanted to gossip about somebody, and I really had to just cut them out.
Sure,
But it
absolutely.
took time.
Yeah, yeah. Another benefit, I mean, you've mentioned so many things here, Celeste. You mentioned, being able to control your own schedule, kind of create your own destiny, but also just who you're spending time with, right? I mean, that's a big, we spend so much time working. You're thankfully now able to spend less time than you were, but for most of us, it's, we spend more time with our work family than we do our normal family, and being able to control that and choose who you're spending that time with is another value add of doing it on your own for sure. Last question here, Celeste. What are you working on this year? What's the big thing that you're shooting towards? Is it a personal goal, a business goal? Where's your focus on 2022? When New Year's comes, you're gonna feel like either you won or lost.
Well, I definitely feel like, getting this first franchise location very profitable is the goal for this year. We're going through the medical accreditation process now, so we've completed all the paperwork. We're really waiting for the surveyor to come to, check out our facility, to bless us to go ahead and start being able to accept insurance and participate in the Medicare diabetic shoe program. And so that's going to be a big move for us, because it does allow us to serve more people. And there's a lot of people that have come in, and sometimes the price of our footwear or orthotics is outside of their realm. But if insurance could help, I think they would probably take care of their feet. And so our goal this year is to really get that medical accreditation done to really make sure that people in the community know that we're here for a service, and that we really do want to help people. And we also are trying to get involved with some of the pickleball community. It's the fastest growing sport in the world right now, and Foot Solutions is the national footwear retailer for the Pickleball Association. So really trying to make those connections in the community and kind of be known as the beacon for foot wellness in the Greenville area. And if we can accomplish all of those things, I think it would be a really successful year. And then 2023, we can start planning our next location and when we want to, kind of start that timeline of moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, Celeste, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Thanks so much for sharing everything. Great to hear your story, and congratulations on being, a successful real estate agent, having successful investments, your franchising, and then looking at your LinkedIn profile, you also do some nonprofit work with My Neighbor's Voice. Is that right as well? Yeah. So.
Yes, I serve on the board. I do like, service and giving back, and this is a really great way of serving the community, really helping people come to the table, communicate, share different opinions, but at the same time being able to respectfully listen to other people's opinions, which I think we are desperately in need of right now in our society.
That's great. Celeste, thanks again. We really appreciate your time, and to everyone who took the time to listen to Celeste and I visit this evening, we appreciate you joining us and hope to hear from you again next time. So thanks.